There we are. Okay. Quick microphone check. Do we have a microphone? Should be. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Howdy, folks. I'm Dave and I'm back. My name's Dave. If you haven't been to this channel before, my name is Dave. I'm a woodturner. I want to become a better woodturner, a better teacher, demonstrator, presenter, and I want to help other people become better turners too. So that's why I started this channel on Twitch. It's a unscripted, live, interactive channel. So if you are ever have any questions, please shoot them out in chat. It would be nice if there was a voice thing here sometimes, I suppose, but we work with what we work with. All right. So today is July 4th. I do want to say Happy Independence Day to everyone. However you choose to celebrate it, awesome. All I ask as a veteran myself that you give a little consideration to veterans around you. Perhaps they have PTSD like myself, or the animals, small children. Not everybody's a fan of loud, unexpected noises. So please take some consideration with people around you and be careful out there. You're dealing with explosives. Anyway, happy 4th. Welcome back to my channel. Last week we left off at a halfway point, and I gotta say, it's been really difficult for me to leave this where it was at last week. So what we have is working on a winged hollow form. All right, so we did the back already. I've got my general shape here. Actually, let's just recap the whole thing. All right, I started off between centers, and so that means my original center would have been right about here. If I had a wider swing, a taller swing on my lathe, I would have been able to get further out from center, or the original center, than I could here, but this is just what I wanted was an off-center winged hollow form. So I started between centers and I got the mass away that might cause any possible vibration. Started working on the wings, and then I flipped it around. And well, actually, I started working on the top. Got this general shape. You can still see here the live center. Flipped it around, got this side done, and made this spigot here and a spot for me to grab it with the chuck. Now I'm at the point where we can start hollowing. So I did carve this. I used a bowl gouge, and I used a spindle gouge, and I used a negative rake scraper, a skew that I modified to become a negative rake scraper. And then I did a little bit of light sanding with 220 on this. So this is pretty much what was left from the tool. Now I'm at the point where I can hollow this, and that's where we are today. And I've been looking forward to it for a week. It was, like I said, it's been really hard to leave this alone because it's a project I started that I want to finish. Don't always get that. I get that, but this one I could have done finished the next day, and instead I waited. So here we go. So this piece has been sitting for a week. I want to make sure that the chuck is still secure, because what's going to happen is I'm going to hollow from here, and then I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to finish off the bottom, the back. And the way that I'm going to hollow it is with a spindle gouge. I think this is that's a pretty decent angle, I guess. So since I'm using my spindle gouge now, I've got to make sure I got my center where I want it, which means I'll have to adjust my tool rest. So that's a little bit far out for what I want to do right now. So I want my spindle gouge to be parallel with the ways of the lathe. And in this particular case, I want the center to be right where center would be if I ended a cut normally. So that means I got to bring it up a bit. Oh, too high. Because the way that I'm going to hollow this is through a technique called top cutting. At least that's the way it's called in France. I learned that from Laurent Niclot, who is a pretty amazing turner himself. He actually went through, I guess they have apprenticeships and all that kind of thing in the woodturning world that we don't have here. And so he got to start off working that way, and now he works with for Trent Roche. Anyway, great turner. Got to meet him at Aeromont, and this is not the shirt. Oh yeah, it is. This is the shirt. Or is it? No, sorry, this is not the shirt. My mistake. This is the shirt I got from the first time I went to Aeromont. But I did get a shirt from Jack Vessery, who was the instructor. Laurent Niclot. Niclot was the assistant instructor. Really nice guy. Anyway, I explained to him a technique I was learning that in Australia is called back hollowing. And when I explained to him, he hadn't heard that term before. When I explained it to him, he said, "Oh yeah, we call that top cutting." And that made a little bit more sense to me because I'm actually cutting through the top of the hollow form. Do I have a hollow form here? I do not. But anyway, in a normal hollowing process, say you're using a hollowing tool, you'll come in from the side of the piece and work at it that way. Or you can scoop it out like a bowl gouge, or even using a spindle gouge as a push cut. And what I'm actually doing is cutting from the top down to the center, and it's going in a straight line, although it kind of looks like it's a spiral from the front because of the way that the handle has to move. But the tool itself really goes in a straight line, and I'm going up, over, and down. And for me, on small hollow forms, I really like using this technique because, for one, it clears out the shavings pretty quickly also, but it makes a hollowing just pretty quick. And that's really all I need to do on this is just a quick hollowing. I don't have to get super involved. I don't have to get out my Jameson hollowing, my Jameson hollowing stand and kit. Mostly because this is a very small hollow form. Although he makes a bar for small hollow forms, I found what works for me better is being able to go at it through the top cutting technique. So I'm going to show you what that looks like from this angle anyway. And that brings me, I guess I should bring that up as well. I want this channel to be the best it can be. So, and again, it's unscripted. It's really, there's not very much plan to it because I explain what I'm doing as I go. I want to be able to explain well enough from the beginner on up what's actually happening while I'm turning. That helps me cement it in my mind, but it also helps me to present it better. And any questions that you have, you throw them in on chat. I will catch them. I'll take a break every now and then, and I'll answer those questions. So we are going to, which leads me to, I have one camera. It doesn't have a focus, it doesn't have a zoom. It's got a limited focus window, I guess, how far or how close it can be to something, and an older laptop. So I have a support page, KOFI, Coffee. And if you like what you see on the channel, the project that I have going for the support page on Coffee is a second camera that has a zoom, so I can have a different angle while we're turning. You can see different angles, and also a video switcher, because I'm not super computer literate, but I understand audio and video switches. So if I can do that, then that would give a much better, several different angles and a much better view of what's happening. So thank you for your support. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for following. However that works on Twitch. They all have a different term, I guess. So let's go ahead and get to it. I've got the chuck mounted. I've got my tool rest pretty close to the neck of the top of the hollow form here. Now let me turn this light on. It gives a little bit better, not tons, but a little bit. And I need to grab, oh, that'll work as a pointer object. So this neck of the hollow form, I want to get the tool rest as close as I can to this. Partially because that is the brace that I'm using when I'm top cutting. That's what's bracing the tool steel, the back of the tool, not the cutting or anything like that. The cutting is actually on the other side of it. And I start with a small hole to begin with and work my way up and into and out to get the thickness that I'm looking for. So I'm going to start off by shaving this off so the neck is pretty much straight all the way across. I don't want this sticking out right now. I want to get in there, drill a hole with my spindle gouge, and then start to hollow. So safety glasses first. Make sure we do not clear. All right, so that means I think that I will wind up using my center tool rest here. Because unfortunately, it's not the tool rest itself that's not clearing. It's this bolt that sticks out from the tightening down the... That's not going to work. That won't work because that has to go by. Well, this is about as close as I can get them without scratching up. I'm going to have some flex in this, not a whole lot, but there is going to be some flex in the wings here. Let me raise this up. I don't know if that's... I guess that looks a little bit better from my perspective. How does it look on Twitch? Maybe a little bit like that. All right. So, feel free to mention, if you ever see something gets blocked, I may not see your chat right away. I do pay attention, but I will take breaks to answer any questions or any observations. And if you have ideas or even better ways to do things, hey, feel free to chime in and let me know. Let's get that information out there. We want, there's no secrets in wood turning, right? So let's share everything we can share. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, not a thing wrong with trying to earn a living, being good at what you do. That's what I'm shooting for in the future. Right now, I really enjoy wood turning. I want to get this information out there. Of course, I want to earn some subscribers, but I want to be a better teacher, and that's where I think I want to focus. What am I hitting there? Hitting right there. And I'm just going to drop things on the floor, so bear with me. Those handles like to roll. I got to make sure I'm going to clear everything on this lathe. That's coming really close. All right, so I'm not going to get as close as I'd really, really like. Let's go back to the other tool rest. Maybe I can get, I can get a little bit closer with this one. And since I had already set the height, That Steve Center tool rest is really, really nice tool rest. I like that he has just that bar on top, and you can get really, really close with shear scrapes. You can get your handle way, way down with those. This is not a bad tool rest either. I'm not knocking this tool rest. It's got a nut that lets me make my micro adjustments. I use this tool rest most of the time, but I can't get my handle past this angle here. So if I really want to get up there, I got to go for the center tool rest, and I got to tell you, it's great for the job. All right, so that should be, let's go further in. I think that might be good enough. Let's see. So that clears, that's going to clear, that clears, that clears. All right. Oh, another thing I do want to mention, and something that I brought up at the last broadcast when I got to all the way through to this point anyway, you'll notice that the wing here is a little thinner than it is here. And that's because when I was flopping between centers back to front, I didn't get it exactly on center. So it's a little bit thicker on one side than the other, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. It's hard, and I do my best not to take things off the lathe very often because it sometimes can be really, really hard to get right back exactly where you were at on center. That's not okay. That should be okay. So for those who actually care, I say I'm turning right around about 800 RPM when I start this up, but go at the speed that you feel comfortable with. Don't rely on a readout. What seems good to you and safe to you, that's where you should turn. Do be careful of the speed, especially as you get up to larger pieces. Because all of that physics, well, it doesn't change. It just gets more physicsy. A 28-inch diameter bowl is going to turn a whole lot differently than an 8-inch diameter bowl. There's going to be a lot more flex on the outside of the bowl, so you have to be very careful when you're hollowing, or not. Well, I guess it is hollowing. It's an open form, and when you're doing the inside of the bowl, however you do it, typically the outside's done first and then the inside, but you have to take it in stages because you can get that flex on a really, really big bowl, and depending on how thin you want to take that lumber that you're turning. But that mass, once you start hollowing out the bowl, disappears. It doesn't hold the sides in like it used to. And that's with any piece, but it just gets more magnified the larger the piece is, so you have to take more care. Of course, you don't want to overstress your lathe or push. I do occasionally push the limits of this particular lathe. I actually have to push the limits on my other lathe, my little Recon, but I try not to because they're meant to work within a specific range. Someday I'll have a larger lathe, but this has served me well for, I guess 7 years now. This has been a fantastic piece of equipment. Yeah, I've really enjoyed using this jet. Now, having said that, I will say again, I do not get any remuneration for mentioning product manufacturers or products. Although I'm open to the idea of being sponsored, please feel free to hit me up and we can talk about it. But right now, the tools that I use, if I mention the name of the manufacturer, it's because that's what I'm using. It's not because I'm making money on it. Okay. A little bit more wiping of the glasses here. I see we got 3 people watching. Hello, howdy. Thanks for watching on a holiday. I appreciate that. I'm kind of doing this to take my mind off the fireworks that are coming up. I am a vet with PTSD. I don't like loud, unexpected noises. I applaud people that want to celebrate Independence Day and all that. I just, like I said earlier, I just ask that maybe you give some consideration to the people and the animals around you, and yourselves. Don't blow yourself up. You are working with explosives. I just don't care to listen to it all night. I've had enough. But anyway, happy 4th. So I'm going to shave, pardon me, I'm going to shave this bit off here to make this straight across on the neck. Then I'm going to bore my hole to a depth I think I have determined will be, let's find a pencil. Sometimes I have one, sometimes I don't, because I keep moving them. And there's actually, wow, that's surprising. Huh, all right. So I don't even have one in the tool bag that I take when I get to teach the kids at the tech center here in town during the school year. A lot of fun. Our woodturning group here, woodturning club here, Northwest Michigan Woodturners, meets the second Saturday of every month in Traverse City on Parsons Road at the tech center. It's now called Northwest Michigan Education something. I don't remember the whole entire, I should learn that, but it used to be just TBA. So our woodturning club meets on the second Saturday of every month, basically from 8:30 to noon. 8:30 is when the coffee and donuts come out. The club, the meeting usually starts about 9. And we meet at the tech center. And in exchange for that, we made a deal that we would send turners in during the school year to mentor kids in woodturning at construction trades, which is also happens to be where our meetings are held, in the construction trades part of the building. And I have a lot of great fun teaching kids how to turn and making some nice connections, and hopefully fostering some new turners to the world. And they will be able to express themselves however they wish, when they however they wish, just as anybody else does, just as I do. I try to express myself through my work, and also clearly, as I'm talking about my work and talking about wood turning as therapy, this is going to be you will see tonight if they start shooting up the fireworks. It's not. This broadcast won't end until a little bit after it's dark, so we might hear a few. But this is my therapy. So if I can get into that focus, I should be able to work through all that stuff and still get this piece done. And that's what I'm shooting for. I'm using this as therapeutic tool today as well. All right. So back to it. So I clear everywhere. I may have to touch up somewhere that bolt scraped a little bit. I got to find that. But anyway, we clear here. So I thought perhaps if I look at both sides, this will probably be, there goes my spindle gouge right between the ways. Those handles do like to roll. I should probably have my death towel up here. Let me grab it. So it's not very dark, but I'm thinking that's about the depth on the inside. You can't see that. Let me shift you over. You probably can't see it anyway, but there's a white line right at the end of where my fingernail is sitting. And that's about the depth that I want for this piece, probably a little bit less on the inside, because I got to remember there's going to be a wall thickness here. I've got to turn the outside after the fact. So I just want to give myself an idea of where my depth is going to be when I do my hole boring with the spindle gouge. and I'll keep checking it against my depth compared to where the neck is compared to out here, so I can kind of get a line. So I want that line there to kind of give me a really good eyeball of how deep I am with the boring. And then again, also I'll be checking as I'm hollowing it out. Okay. So I think I'm going to slow that down a little bit. See if it changes, because I am getting some vibration. That's not bad. I don't want a whole lot of vibration. I'd really rather have none. I'm going to stand on this side of it in case anything decides to fly out. Let's speed it up a little bit, see what that does to the vibration. And the reason it's vibrating because it's off center, right? I've got the wings. I started on center, and then I shifted the piece to another center and then removed all that mass. Then I did the upper surface of the wing and the hollow form. I don't like that. Maybe a little bit more. That's too slow. Too slow. All right, so I guess that's about the best I'm going to do right about there, and that is right about 800. I don't want to go too much higher because I don't want to have a lot of vibration while I'm working on the inside. I'll have my brace on the tool rest and the inside of the lip of the hole, and then eventually the neck. But I want to limit the vibration as much as I possibly can. So I think I'm going to shut the lathe and drop this tool rest just a bit more. Let's go 2 flats and see what I get. Nope, 1 was enough. Yep, that'll do. So I don't know how other people might explain this, but you probably heard me say 2 flats. I needed to move 2 flats, and I was just talking about my hexagonal screw. I could say, oh yeah, I needed to move 60 degrees. Well, I just call them flats. It's the same thing. So when I say that, I'll look at where a flat is and I'll move whichever direction, that many flats that I need. I am going to mute you for a second. Hold on. All right, sorry about that, folks. I just had OB call me and tell me that stuff was going on in chat, and there's no chat on the computer here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream and start again. I had some issues the first time I started this thing. I'm wondering if perhaps TC shows, well, that I see. Now I see chat on my phone, but that is really, really small for me to see right now. So I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to restart really quick and see if we can get chat back up so I can actually see it. Bear with me. Thank you.